Shalom, shalom to all my brothers in the truth that scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. This is your brother Pakir More Israel from the tribe of Judah. And I'm here to say that I love all 12 tribes, so we all is one. To me, ain't no northern and southern kingdom. That's just a myth to keep us apart when we all really come from Jacob, So I'm not with bashing nobody. I'm not with bashing our Israelites, and I'm not with bashing our even other entities that's out there too, man. You know what I mean? So and I'm just not with the bashing. You know what I mean? Because you never know what the Most High got in store for every single person that's breathing. You know what I mean? So you know we are a particular people, but that means don't get ahead of ourselves. You know what I mean? Because the Most High can, look upon other nations and have love for them too. Don't get it twisted. You know what I mean? And I'm about to prove that with this perfect allegory. That I'm gonna read the story a little bit and get into the allegory. This is a high level allegory that one day it hit me like about a couple months ago. Well, I'd say about a month ago, some maybe, and it hit me like that, man. I had to break down in tears, man. You know what I mean? Off of what the things I read and the things it really struck me like this. So it struck me so much that time moved on, and I'm about to reveal the thing that I read, how it affected me, and it didn't only affect me, it affected the tribe of Judah. Yes, to this day. What I'm about to read, you got to have knowledge. Proverbs 9, in the chapter 9, maybe verse 9, I think that's what it is. And it said, well, I can get that real quick before I go there. Knowledge of the holy is understanding. That's what basically what it said, but I just want to make sure. Gotta be accurate, But this is heavy right here. I'm gonna read Proverbs. Bear with me, Israel. And I just want to say I love all y'all out there. Okay, Proverbs 9:9. It said, give instruction to a wise man, and he would be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he would be wise in learning. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of holy is understanding. So the knowledge of holy is understanding. So that'll be verse 10. It's Proverbs 9:10. Well, people don't even know. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. Once you fear him, that's when you have the beginning of wisdom. When you know at any moment that he ain't to be played with. And I'm about to prove that in this story, quick story I'm about to read, make it fast. And the knowledge of holy is understanding. That's how you get understanding. The knowledge of holy, okay? So I'm going to read this and get it on. This is about David, King David, the king, He's a perfect man, but this is a slip up right here. You know what I mean? I'm about to let the knowledge of the holy be revealed. And it came to pass after the year was expired, at the time when I'm reading 2 Samuel verse 2 Samuel chapter 11 verse 1. And it came to pass after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed all the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbi, okay? But David tarried still in Jerusalem, which means he stayed longer than expected, okay? 2, and it came to pass in an evening tide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house, and from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. Okay, so keep in mind what's going on. Okay, all right. And David sent and inquire after the woman, and one said, "Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah, the Hittite?" You hear what I just read? Now let me rewind time. Okay, the commandments was already established. You're not supposed to commit adultery. You know what I'm saying? All right. And if you think you in position to where you could do that, you better think again. You know. So all right. And it came to pass in the evening tide that David arose from his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. Okay. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, "Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elon, the wife of Uriah the Hittite?" This was a Canaanite person. All right. And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he laid with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. 5. And the woman conceived and sent and told David and said, "I am with child." 6. And David sent to Joab, saying, "Send me Uriah the Hittite." And Joab sent Uriah to David. Okay, 7. And when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the war prospered. Okay, 8. And David said unto Uriah, "Go down to the house and wash thy feet." And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there following him a mess of meat from the king. Okay. 9. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his masters, and went not down into his house. So the King David sent Uriah away and said, "Man, go home, wash your feet, go chill out or whatever." But you know what? Uriah didn't go. It just said Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his masters, and went not down into his house. So he was given a direct order and still stayed there. You know what that was called? Loyalty. And this wasn't even an Israelite. Loyal to Israel. He was loyal to King David. You understand? All right. Keep in mind what's going on. And when they had told David, saying, "Uriah went not down into his house," David said unto Uriah, comest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst not go down unto thine house?" Okay, he wondering why he ain't go into the house. And Uriah said to David, "The ark and Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my master Joab and the servants of my masters are encamped in the open field. Shall I then go into my house to eat and drink, and to lie with my wife? As thou livest, and as thou so livest, I will not do this thing." Wow. 12. And David said unto Uriah, "Tarry here today also, and tomorrow I will let thee depart." So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the morrow. 13. And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk. And at even he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his masters, of his master, but went not down to his house. He still didn't go to his house. 14. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab. David wrote a letter to his friend, to his man in charge, and sent it by the hand of Uriah. Okay. 15. And he wrote in the letter saying, now this is something else. This is very deep and important. David wrote a letter about the same person he gave a letter to. He wrote a letter and told Uriah to give it to Joab. Nowadays in 2020, let's say I write a letter and I tell my friend to give it to another friend. You know that friend that I get a letter to gonna read that letter? But this brother at that time didn't even look at the letter. All right. And it was about him. All right. So I'm about to show you it was about him. And it came to pass the morning that David wrote the letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. 15. And he wrote in the letter saying, set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die. Wow. Wow. So he wrote the letter about the man, gave it to the man, and just to give to his friend, that's about the same person he gave a letter to. Man, you don't understand how deep this is and how much uh this is basically not good, Israel. You know what I'm saying? This is not loving thy neighbor. You feel me? So, all right. So, and it came to pass in the morning, but that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. 15. And he wrote in the letter saying, set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die. 16. And it came to pass when Joab observed the city that he assigned Uriah unto a place where he knew that valiant men were. 17. And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab. Okay. And they fell some of the people of the servants of David. And Uriah the Hittite died also. Okay. All right. Wow. The same person to get a letter to, the same person who was loyal, who told him to go home, was sent to war and died. All right. 18. And Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war. 19. And charged the messenger, saying, when thou hast made an end of telling the masters of the war unto the king. 20. And if so be that the king's wrath arise, and he said unto thee, wherefore approach ye so nigh unto the city, when ye did fight? Knew ye not that they would shoot from the wall? 21. Who smote Amalek, the son of Jerubbesheth? Did not a woman cast a piece of millstone upon him from the wall, that he died in Thesbes? Why went ye nigh the wall? Then said thou, thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. So this is he getting a report on what happened in the war. Thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. 22. Rest in peace, man, to Uriah, man. Rest in peace to Uriah, man. The underdog. And I mean that, man. All right. And rest in peace to David, too. You dig? That's my forefather, man. But rest in peace to Uriah, too, though, man. This is a good, honest servant, man. A good, loyal person, man. Man, I'm going to get to that later, though. 22. So the messenger went and came and shewed David all the Joab had sent him for. 23. And the messenger said unto David, surely the men prevailed against us, and came out unto us into the field, and we were upon them even unto the entering of the gate. 24. And the shooter shot from off the wall upon thy servants, and some of the king's servants be dead, and thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. 25. Then David said unto the messenger, thus shall thou say unto Joab, let not this thing displease thee, for the sword devour one as well as another. Make thy battle more strong against the city, and overthrow it, and encourage him. 26. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah, her husband, was dead, she mourned for her husband. 27. And when the morning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife, and bare him a son. But the thing that David has done displease Yahweh. Now, David was a good man, man. Don't get this twisted. A great man. But let me let you hear this again. But the thing that David had done displeased Yahweh, which means Don't ever get it twisted, Israel, thinking that another nation, that the Most High don't care about other people, especially loyal to us, doing our thing. You know, ham like this, ham like that, ham like, you know what I'm saying? When these people got love for us too, man. You know, everybody ain't bad people, man. Some people, we always get to the point they sold us out into slavery, they did this and that and all that. Man, nobody ain't did nothing, man. The Most High made all things happen, man. You better start thinking about this. The Most High made all things. All right, so let's go to now. This is my point of even doing this whole lesson. This is a high level allegory. After all that I just read, okay. Now listen to this. This is so deep. Ooh, this is the high level allegory to me. All right, so I'm gonna back it up a little bit. And when the morning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife and bare him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased Yahweh. Chapter 12. And Yahweh sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, listen to this. There were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. 2. The rich man had exceedingly many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing save one little ewe lamb, which he had brought and nourished up. And it grew up together with him and with his children, and did eat of his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and laid in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was to come to him. And David anger was greatly kindled against the man, and said to Nathan, as Yahweh liveth, the man that had done this thing shall surely die. And he restored the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna read it again. And David anger was greatly kindled against the man, and he said to Nathan, as Yahweh liveth, the man that had done this thing shall surely die, and he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he done this thing, and because he had no pity. And Nathan said unto David, thou art the man. Ooh. This whole time, this prophet was telling a story to David about his own self in front of his face, and didn't even know the story was about him. Man, what? Man. All right. Let me get my composure. And he said the story for Nathan. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus said Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel. I delivered thee out of thy hand of Saul, and I gave thee my master's house, that my master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if thou had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of Yahweh, to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus said Yahweh, behold, I will rise up evil against thee out of thine house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall live with thy wives in the sight of his son. For thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before Israel and before the sun. The sun. Howbeit, I'm sorry. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against Yahweh. And Nathan said unto David, Yahweh also had put away well, hold on. David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against Yahweh. And Nathan said unto David, Yahweh has put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by the deed thou hast given great occasions to the enemies of Yahweh to blasphemy, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die. And Nathan departed unto his house, and Yahweh struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick. That is very deep on a lot of levels. A man who was very who was a ride or die for the King David, you know, and he sent the man to war to get killed just so he can have his wife, man. I've been in, I had a lot of women, in my life, man, but I never sent none of my partners to go kill a dude for a woman, man, before, man. But, I love King David, though. He did a lot of great things, and that's why the Most High said, you're not going to die because for all the greatness he done. You did that one thing, you know what I'm saying? But, rest in peace to Uriah, man. I have nobody mention this. I never hear nobody mention stuff like this. And Nathan and Yahweh sent Nathan, the prophet, to him, because he thought he did that in secret. But this is what you don't understand, Israel. By King David making this mistake like this, you know what he said? Nathan said, he prophesied that what he said? Now therefore the sword should never depart from thine house, and has taken the wife of the Uriah. Now therefore the sword should never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Do you understand what that is saying? That is saying that the sword will never depart from thine house. You think he literally talking about him and his wife and his kids? No. Yeah, that happened too. Because the very next chapter, it started being a downfall with his family right then and there after that. But this is talking about all of Israel. The sword never departed from thine house. If we the house of David, that's never stopped happening. From thine house. Who's the root of David? The Most High's son. So that sword never departed from that house all the way into today. People don't understand how deep that is. That's a deep allegory, man. That's prophecy. That's a high level allegory. A high level. High level. And I'm just here to bring that to your attention. I love y'all. And I'm gonna read that one more time. Just that allegory is so cold though. All right, Yahweh sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were two men in one city, the one rich and the one poor. The rich man had exceedingly many flocks and herds. That's like King David. He had a lot of people, a lot of things. You know what I mean? But the poor man had nothing save one little ewe lamb. So the poor man had nothing save the ewe lamb. We talking about Uriah with his wife. You know what I mean? And which he had brought and nourished up. And it grew up together with him, with him and his wife, and with his children. It did eat of his own meat and drank of his own cup, and laid in his bosom, and was unto him like as a daughter. And there came a traveler unto the rich man. There came a traveler, Uriah to him, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress the wayfarer man that was coming to him, but took the poor man's lamb, took the poor man's wife, and dressed it for the man that was coming to him. And David anger was greatly kindled against the man, and said to Nathan, as Yahweh liveth, the man had done this thing shall surely die, and he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. And Nathan said unto David, thou art the man, which means you are the man. Thus said Yahweh Elohim of Israel, I anointed king of over Israel. I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul, and gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would more have given thee such and such thing. Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of Yahweh to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore the sword shall never depart of thine house. That right there is an ongoing thing that happening right now. And this ain't no lie. The sword never departed from the house of David. This was prophesied way back to Moses. If you don't follow the commandments, A, B, and C was going to happen. We're going to be sent to another strange land what our forefathers never knew. The Most High don't lie, man. Well, what he said, he'll tell you something right then and there, and then you might not, it might catch on to you hundreds of years later. You better listen, man. You know, this wasn't a game, man. And this for sure shows that when the commandments was given to Moses, to us, how to conduct ourselves, we all get caught up in the spur of the moment, man. That spur of the moment, I'm gonna tell you, that spur of the moment, it leads us to disobedience if we're not paying attention. So that's why it's always good to study to show ourselves approved, so we can keep them precepts up in our mind, to know when we doing what's right and what's wrong, and obviously to hurt another man, you know what I'm saying, just to get his wife, man, that's like really going above and beyond. I could see, if she was single, or she, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature like that, but she's married, and you knew that's your friend. You knew this is your friend? Nah, man, that's touching. That's touching the line. I understand why Yahweh said that this is pleasing. And trust me, David was so-called perfect, man, in the eyes of the Lord. Man, he's very special. That's my forefather, man. He's very special, man. Very. He still is special, man. So, we all make some mistakes. That's all it is to it. We all make some mistakes, but that mistake led down to a whole bunch of other stuff. It laid down to a whole bunch of other stuff. It laid down to the sword never departing out of the house of his house. So that's why out of the 12 tribes of Israel, the sword be on us a lot. You know what I'm saying? It was things that other 12 tribes out of the 12 tribes of Israel didn't do. Certain things we didn't do. Then you wonder why we always get the sword on the house. Man, if you study this book and start learning why certain things happen to certain tribes and this and that throughout things that happen, you will get the full understanding of why things the way they are. Instead of, you got your nose down on other tribes, or other tribes got their nose down, you know what I mean? It's all laid down. The groundwork is laid down too, and you just gotta be humble, man, and take what it is from, take what it is, man, and stop tale-bearing, murmuring, gossiping, and just basically, follow the law, statute, commandments, and love thy neighbor. And if you love your neighbor, if you really love your neighbor, why would you be worrying about the northern kingdom or the southern kingdom? Man, look, that was a high-level allegory. Shalom to Israel. Wake up. Wake up. Because that sword never departed out of King David's house. King David's a tribe of Judah. And that exactly mean what it said. But that's a two-edged sword too. Because it said, now therefore the sword should never depart from thine house. So the sword was against us, and the sword gonna be for us. It's gonna be for us too. When Yahweh's son returned. So the sword, it was a double-edged sword, really. You know what I mean? So, but the sword was definitely against us. You could tell. So, all right. With all that being said, shalom to all my brothers. I'm just doing this for edification, you know, and just to hopefully touch the mind of one person at least. So, I love y'all. Shalom.